March 12th, 2024, and we are at Sand Mountain Research Center in Crossville, Alabama. It's in the northeast part of the state, and it represents the area of Alabama and South Tennessee and western Georgia and similar areas that would be north enough and cool enough to be able to grow tall fescue, as well as be able to grow maybe some warm season grasses like Bermuda grass, millet, crabgrass, and have also the ability to grow annual ryegrass. Now, as mentioned, it's March, and we're looking at some ryegrass plots. These are put in by Auburn University. Over in the distance there, those cattle are grazing on tall fescue. So this is area that can grow both tall fescue and annual ryegrass. This is as much growth as we have so far this year, and it's not a whole lot. It's not time to graze. Here's an example of a plot. There's really probably about 9 inches of growth. Soil temperature right now, still in the 40s. So these guys, according to the station manager, they've woken up just about 3 weeks ago. Now last year, there was winter damage here. So this is an area that can have snow, it can have winter damage. This year it did get to 4 degrees, but there was not enough to damage it. So today we're going to actually be looking and taking notes on each of these plots. They're done in 4 reps, and we'll take a look at some differences. At a glance, you can see that they all look great, but there's definitely some that maybe are growing a little bit taller than others. There's some that are more upright and others that are more leafy, and we'll be taking some early evaluations on this. Now these have not been cut yet. Verdure, Baqueano diploid, more, Diplomat, Winter Hawk, Triangle Tea, Bruiser, Trinova, Jumbo, Gulf, Experimental SELWT19-9, Flying A, Nelson, Credence, ME94, Mantis, Tam Tebow, Rapido. This one is known for earlier growth. This is Baqueano. Baqueano is known for that leafy, what you're seeing kind of just fall out, just kind of falls all over itself, and that's shown there. This is an experimental SELWTDWL1. SELWD19-7, and that actually looks really good. Looks like it's got a lot of growth. Jackson. Centurion. This is Vishal tetraploid. This is Big Boss. Lone Star. Cold Green. Behind it is Grits. I think that's done well here in the south. Tetra Star. This is SELWTGA. Sweet Tea. Wax Marshall. Dexter, and this one is known to be more of a later variety. Early ploid. As a side note, here's a good example. On the left is early ploid ryegrass, known for earlier growth. On the right is Dexter, what we call an ultra late variety, known for later growth. Also on the left of early ploid is another variety that we may also consider possibly being a later variety, SELWD 19-12. There's FrostProof, and that is one that is a diploid that has been known to perform well in multiple cut times. So it looks like it's doing well early on. Behind it is Attain, well known in this market for being a top performer. Rahanahan, another Gulf, and next to it is Diamond Tea. Andes, LSC-B1191, WMWL, Prine, this is Double Diamond, Rival. This is Ed, and Ed is a diploid that has been around for a while and just continues to actually perform quite well. This is SELWD MACK. ME-4, WMWL-2, and Gusta. That looks pretty good. Alicia. So just as a one observation, if you look on the highlighted ones on the where my thumb is, Verdure, Rapido, Baqueano, FrostProof, and Attain. Verdure is a tetraploid, Rapido is a diploid, Baqueano is a tetraploid, FrostProof is a diploid, and Attain is a tetraploid. And we can see it from this side here. We'll just look at the backwards. Is you can Attain is right in front of us, and then there's FrostProof. FrostProof is quite upright, and that's kind of a known feature, that very predictable, and it's a little bit thinner, being a diploid. And Baqueano is actually on the opposite side. It tends to really like to fall all over itself. Behind it is Rapido, which looks a lot more like FrostProof than the tetraploids such as Verdure. Verdure in this plot looks quite nice. WMWL-2, WMWL, Attain, Triangle T, ME94, Cold Green, Mantis, Verdure, and Tam Tebow. Flying A, Early Ploid, Ed, Diplomat, Sweet Tea, Credence, LSC B191, Rival, SELWTGA, SELWD19-12, Alicia, Ranahan, Jumbo, Grits, SELWDMA check, or CK I mean, Nelson, Gulf, SELWTDWL1. This variety looks pretty full, like it's filling up the canopy quite well. Lone Star, FrostProof, Big Boss, Andes, SELWD19-7, Trinova, Bruiser, Baqueano, Winterhawk, SELWT19-9. And this variety looks like it's filling out. It's nice and dense between the rows. There's Dexter. Again, that's a later variety. Jackson. That's an older diploid, and it's very much looks quite much like a diploid compared to the tetraploids. Here's Bashad diploid, and those are two side by side. One older, one newer. There's ME4, Centurion, and Gulf. Again, also another diploid. The diploids do fine in these colder climates. They seem to respond to colder temperatures a little bit better than the tetraploids. And so here's Wax Marshall. That's Wax Marshall compared to Gulf right there. And then as we go back, there's some tetraploids. So this is Tetra Star, Diamond T, Basha tetraploid, Moore, Prine, Angusta, Double Diamond, and a Rapido. Again, Rapido is a diploid that has more early growth. Rapido, Angusta, Diamond T, Mantis, ME94, Lone Star, Alicia, Dexter, and Verdure. We'll see what we get going into the rest of the rows, but these initially seem like they have a little bit less growth than the first two reps. Yeah, and at a glance, not exactly sure why. This is Baqueano tetraploid, Nelson, Jackson, SELWTDWL1, Prine, Ranahan, Trinova, ME4, and Cold Green. This is Diplomat, Moore. This is supposed to be Big Boss, Attain, Gulf, LSCB-1191, Ed, and Ed is it's known for cold tolerance, and it seems to be pretty happy. Flying A, WMWL-2, Double Diamond, Andes, FrostProof, Tetrastar, Baqueano diploid, Bruiser. This should have been Credence. This is Baqueano, and SELWT19-9. Whatever characteristic this has of Baqueano that kind of makes it floppy, it starts pretty early. It doesn't stand up even when it's short, whereas some of the other ones are more upright even from their beginning. Here's WMWL. This is Jumbo, and this should have been SELWTGA. SELWD19-12, Gulf, early ploid, Sweet Tea, SELWD19-7. Behind it is Arrival, SELWD19-7. Tam Tebow, Wax Marshall, Winterhawk, Triangle T, Centurion, and grits. Prine, grits, SELWTGA, Nelson, SELWTJUK, Tetrastar, WMWL, Big Boss, ME4. Just as a note, Big Boss, kind of a later maturing variety, and you can see it's a, you know, it's definitely not as tall as some of the other ones that would be considered early maturing. SELWT19-9. This one has looked great throughout all of the plots. Mantis, similar maturity to probably a Big Boss, mid to late. Tetraploid. Ranahan, Triangle T, SELWTDWL1, Basha diploid, SELWD19-12, Verdure, and Alicia. Andes, Baqueano, so very predictable. Ed, as you start to look at Ed, is kind of predictable too. It's a kind of a densely tight crowned diploid. Here's Ed compared to FrostProof. It's a good example of two diploids. Ed, FrostProof. I might say FrostProof has got just a little bit more growth than the Ed. Centurion, Rival, early ploid, and you can see that early growth is showing on that. And here's Rapido, so there's two early varieties, early ploid being a tetraploid, Rapido being a diploid. Bruiser, Jackson, ME94, Sweet Tea, Double Diamond, SELWD19-7, Gulf, Wax Marshall, Flying A, Basha tetraploid, Cold Green. I assume that this is a later maturing diploid. WMWL-2, Dexter, later maturing tetraploid. Trinova. So there's a good example. Trinova's mid-range, Dexter's later maturing. So you can see that there's a definite growth difference on there, both of them being tetraploids, one earlier maturing. And LSCB 1191, Diplomat, Tam Tebow, Credence, Attain, Diamond T, SELWDMACK, More, Gulf, Angusta, Winterhawk, and the last one, Lone Star.